I'm Kathy Deach.
And I'm Nikki Bailey.
And we are so excited.
So psyched.
Because one of the first, famousy big girls I met was at a party at Formosa. And and I've literally been waiting for the day to have this time with her in this lovely space.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly Schumann's here, guys, from Superstore.
From Superstore.
She is a goddamn delight, if I can say so myself.
She's a freaking delight. She's freaking delightful.
Say delightful, hon.
Delightful. She's freaking delightful.
The Philly theme continues. Can't take us out. Can't take us out.
Sorry, it's in there.
It's in there. It'll be there forever, ever.
Hello.
She's got an amazing story. She has a podcast. She works for Make-A-Wish, like real Make-A-Wish job, not shows up, takes pictures. Actually took a call and troubleshooted before she got on the air with me just now.
Yeah.
She's major. Yeah, she's major. Right. Yeah, so we're going to hear about the many lives of Kelly Schumann.
Yay.
You're welcome for the book title. You're welcome, Kelly.
Thank you.
And this is the first time, I'm just going to be full confessional today.
Okay.
This is the first time we have done our monthly Fat show and plus this.
In the same week.
Meaning we had Fat rehearsals and Fat memorization and plus this producing.
Yeah.
And sometimes things don't happen the way you think they're going to happen.
And we are tired.
Yeah.
Not tired. Tired.
Yeah.
2 syllables. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a lot to do in a week.
I had socks from the Red campaign. Do you remember that Gap did with Bono? And they put red in parentheses on the clothing. I had socks that said Thai red. I'm not kidding. They were
real.
amazing.
That's real.
That was
That's
definitely real.
Yeah.
That was definitely real. So we're doing that. We're going to plug it tomorrow 8
night.
p.m. Go to Instagram at Fatch Comedy for all the details on our bio. Buy your tickets ahead of time so we can stop having the nervous poops, please. I'm sick of it. I just don't want there to be more people on stage than in the house.
She do be hella checking the RSVPs a lot.
I'm a little bit bitches need to come on up and buy pre-sale tickets.
But you know what? We're going to do a fun-ass show for you.
No matter.
So you know what? You buy your ticket when you buy your ticket. You follow the link or you buy it at the door. Just get your behind to the daggone show because you don't want to miss it. I'm just saying. I'm trying to told you.
It's so true. It's so true. You could be able to get a ticket at the door only.
You used to could be able to.
Do you remember used to could?
You used to could.
Used to could? That's my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was thinking about how I texted you. I texted. I texted you something that was ridiculous today.
What was
that
it?
I actually said.
Yeah, she did. Wait, what was it called? Wait, I don't remember how it went.
Overneath.
Yes. We were talking about what to wear, and she sent me a picture of a shirt, and she said, but you might need to wear something overneath it.
I mean.
Overneath.
That was a good one. And you have the voicemail of me saying that.
I do. I'm saving it forever.
Save that.
I actually took a screenshot of the transcription of it because Siri was like, what is this bitch talking about?
We might need to add that on our Patreon. We might need to add that on the Patreon so you guys can have a lovely taste of my word salads when I get 4 hours sleep.
She may just be making up stuff.
I do. I really do. Okay. So obviously we're really funny. Fatch is really funny. You should totally come see it. And we're doing that. I say and a lot on the show, and I'm trying not to. So forgive me if I have a little tick.
A little twitch.
A little tick.
Yeah.
Trying not to say it.
I do another podcast, and the producer after the show tells me how many times I said and like.
That's rough riding.
That's really nice. Thank you.
That'll get you to stop.
It does make me much more aware of it. Thank you.
We're also doing a Vegas Fatch and plus this appearance.
We're going to Vegas.
And we didn't announce it on the last show because we ran long. And we went on Instagram and talked to the people. And then it happened to sell out. I don't know if that's because of us.
Just probably.
But we should have said it last week. Sorry. So sorry, not sorry. You can't come to Vegas if you didn't get a ticket. But It is an event that will recur, and Abby, who runs it, is so amazing.
It is a pool party
At a house,
mansion or something.
Yeah, it's not like taking over a hotel or something where like you could have. It's like private.
It's private,
and that's awesome.
Yes, and so Fatch will be there in our fabulous bathing suits. I am wearing a bikini for the first time. There will be photos. Do not miss it.
Okay. I will not be in a bikini, but I will take photos as well.
It's going to be good.
I'm thinking about self-tanner. I'm like this. I'm as white as this.
Because she said...
Look, you do a white balance on my face. I'm afraid of reflecting and blinding people. Ryan, our guy, is totally nodding in approval.
I understand. I get it.
He sees me.
Don't encourage her, Ryan.
I'm just saying.
She doesn't
For a while, you know when that lotion, that Jergens lotion came out that like tanned your legs?
No, I don't
just
know
like
about
what
that.
you don't.
have
It
no
wasn't in
reason-
your.
I
It
have
wasn't in
no
your
reason to
consciousness.
know
It wasn't in your consciousness. You didn't look at white
No.
ladies and go, "Oh, poor white ladies." You didn't say that.
Skipped that entire
They,
product.
by the way, they had dark brown too. So I don't even want some high yellow girl out there is trying to get some nice cocoa
No,
brown
that was
legs.
Rachel Dolezal. That was for Rachel Dolezal.
Touche. It was for her. You're totally right. And a Kardashian or two. But I used it, and my mother was like, "Are you wearing hose?" Which I hadn't worn in like ever.
Who's?
So when I use that tanning lotion, I look like I have hose on. But it might be better than blinding the photographer who's going to be taking pictures of
With
us.
the light bouncing
With the
off
light
your legs.
bouncing, like you'll have a great light because you'll be bouncing off of my thigh. It'll be it'll be like
Nice.
gorgeous.
Nice.
I'm just
Thank
saying.
you. Nobody
No
needs
one
a
needs a
reflector or
reflector.
anything. We just
I'm
have
taking
Kathy
care of
nearby.
everybody.
I
I'm
like
taking care
it.
of everybody. Let me look back at the paper. Well, we're also doing the Laugh Riot Fest.
The Laugh Riot Girl Festival.
Girl Festival. Sorry.
Laugh Riot Girl Festival. It's their 5th year. Bobby Oliver over at Dow Comedy Studio does it, and it's a lot of fun. We are going to be there June 6th, I think at 8. Maybe.
I think it's at 6.
At 6, maybe.
Because that's why
We can't do this.
pre-taping.
Yes, you're right. It's in the wrong place on my calendar. But
It
really
goes on
fun
for a
show.
week.
Yeah, it's a
big
really fun
festival.
festival.
So thank you guys for
All
having
women
us.
comics, all women, women-led sketch comedy improv groups. Really fun.
Yeah. Let's talk about one thing that happened.
Okay.
Chica was on Jimmy Kimmel.
Wait. Lena Waithe guest hosted
Fierce.
for Jimmy Fallon.
And was.
That's the first thing
no,
we need to
Jimmy
give.
Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel, excuse me.
That's okay.
For Jimmy Kimmel. It's too many Jimmys on late night.
I know.
Jeez.
I know.
So anyway, Lena Waithe sat in for him. That's the first moment that we had to go,
Yes.
oh my God, about. And then she had Chica on. And Chica has been low-key blowing up everywhere. Like she's on a billboard in Times Square that Kathy saw, and it made her cry. She's amazing. She went viral last year with her little Kanye West, like, talking about his trifling behind.
Freestyle.
And then
Crazy.
So Lena's gonna host Kimmel, and she said they asked her who she wants to be on the show, and she's like, "Bring me Chica."
Incredible.
Incredible.
And interviewed her. It was an amazing interview.
It was so good.
And then she got to perform something new, something brand new she wrote.
She wrote a new song called "Ricky v. Alabama." And she's from Alabama, and so she wrote a song about the new abortion laws that were passed there, and the lyrics are amazing. She says, I wrote it down. It was so good. Like, I legit had to stop it and write it down. She says, young women are looking for hope in this. They want us to wallow in brokenness. The remedy really is openness.
She's a gift. I mean, that's like channeling something.
Okay.
Come on our show, Chica.
Chica.
You're here. You were in LA.
Holla.
Holler at your
We
girls.
need to talk with you.
Yeah, we really do.
We really do.
I wanted to address this really quickly because in our busyness and in our week of like performing at Fatch and all these festivals this weekend, which by the way, so much fun. Thank you for everyone who came out.
At the Black Women in Comedy Festival,
my
we
God.
had a ball.
Such a blast. And then we did the Black Twitter show at UCB, which was during Game of Thrones, like that
packed
anyone
house.
was there, I don't understand,
Yeah.
but thank you. We weren't as busy with Plus This because of that.
Right.
And I am in charge of the Facebooking. I mean, Nikki sends me things and then I Facebook them, but I'm in charge. So it's on me. And some comments on some posts like went unanswered, and there was a misunderstanding about my intention in what I did when I did finally respond. So I kind of brought up this stuff because the person was like, oh, something you reposted, I went and liked their page, but when I started scrolling on their page, there was like an ad for weight loss and there was like all these horrible comments. So I unliked it immediately. Now, what's interesting is that it's a Facebook watch show, so I automatically don't like those pages because then that's all I will see is that person's thing.
In your newsfeed.
In my newsfeed. Yeah. So I already don't like participate in liking Facebook watch pages, but individual videos I will support and share or whatever. So I really was like, oh, did not know that. Let me go see. And when I saw, I don't read comments. We've talked about this. I don't read comments.
Nor do I.
Because I know horribleness exists and I know that people act out and it's horrific.
Yeah.
And I already know that. So getting specific about what it is, I don't need to invite that in my life.
You don't need to have that kind of toxicity in your life.
Yeah. So I understand Eva, my old co-host, really would do it often.
Yeah.
And I would just say to her that I don't understand how this is helping you. And she'd be like, I need to know things. You know, she's a Capricorn, whatever. So she like knowledge just powered her. It was not for me. And I came back and I was like, wow, Facebook is really scary for fat people. Like, and I wrote like
that was your response to her post. That was my
response to her post.
Facebook can be scary. That was icky, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, like an emoji, like a pukey emoji, like someone feeling like bleh. And the person took it personally, like I was making fun of them after that. Yeah. And then because we were busy, I didn't respond to that. Yeah. And then she wrote something back, like
a longer post telling us that we are insensitive and uncaring and that we were mocking her.
Yeah. And felt like we were being really terrible by ignoring her. And listen, it's a page that wants to amplify fat women, and we're so invisible that I know we have like a lot of hang-ups about that for sure. And I never want someone to feel invisible. Like that's like literally a trigger for me. Like I want everyone to feel like they're seen. So I didn't take to the public, but she had sent me a message as well, and I wrote her a message back basically explaining the whole situation. But it kind of, and she very lovely was like, I got your message and wrote that publicly. Thank you so much for responding. So I feel like sides of the streets are clean, but I want to talk about this like expectation in activism that we have to go into the deep dive in order to support, like I wanted to support the women that were in that video. And I didn't feel like I needed to do a deep dive into that page in order to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, there was no reason, I don't know, I don't think it's our responsibility to do a thorough investigation and due diligence on every single thing we post to make sure that their history is right or that their content is in alignment with our values. Like, so for me, we had different responses to that comment because I was like, not really interested. Those are not my issues. Like we didn't do anything wrong. But this idea that somehow we should be accountable, to about whatever we post in terms of checking their history or whatever is not, I don't think that's a realistic expectation.
Well, not for two people who are self-starting and doing everything themselves. Like, if I had a team, I would totally do it. I know that Facebook is terrible, and I don't have any expectations of them. Look what they did to our government. Like, they don't care. So they really don't give a shit about fat people. So, like, if they can, like, send the Russians on our government. So, in our voting. So, I appreciated that is triggering to someone. I found it interesting that some people really have an expectation of you that you would go that far. Just so everybody knows, I'm not perfect, Nikki's not perfect, and we appreciate that we have a space for you to say all those feelings, but also we're going to react in kind, and I don't think that doesn't make us champions of fat people. Like, I still want them to be seen.
If we were endorsing a product, then I would probably do more. There would be more due diligence involved if it was a product to endorse.
For sure. I mean, I've been very
we've talked about this, like not going. Like I had an audition the other day that was for a diet product, and I declined it because I wasn't. That's just not in line with who I am. And so, but for stuff on Facebook, like I'm sure if you looked hard enough at my Twitter, I'm not inviting you to do this. Just realize what I was saying.
Nikki Bailey _.
But if you look too hard at my Twitter, I'm sure you'd find something you didn't like. Depending on where I was in my life or what was happening. And so I don't know what this other page had on it, but I think you can trust and take us at face value that we are who we say we are, which is we are fat activists. We are here to support and uplift the voices and bodies and lives of people of size. And so, we're not trying to, we don't want to be mean to anybody. We tell endless stories about how mean people are to us or have been to us. We write sketches about it so we can laugh at it. So we would never intentionally, do that to someone else. And so, give us the benefit of the doubt if we don't respond right away. It's because we've got a lot going on, but it's not due to a lack of love or support or desire to hear or respond to you.
Yeah, and I also want to honor the fact that I understand why that's touchy for people.
Oh, absolutely.
And I understand, especially if you're somebody that people don't want to see in the world, and Facebook is your way to participate in the world and participate in community, that you have a lot of sensitive feelings.
Yeah.
So I also want to honor that and just say, I just hope you felt taken care of by us.
Yeah.
That's really all I really care about.
Yeah.
I see you. That's all I want to say.
Yeah. Word.
That's it. Word. Oh my God, we fist bumped.
We did.
You can't, if you're on podcast, you can't see it, but we fist bumped.
There was a bump.
We're going to go to a very, I think, hilarious sketch that this one over here has written.
And it's not just because we're both in it. It's actually, and it's based on a true story.
Speaking of people being mean to you. And it is a character that I hope we bring back very soon because she's kind of amazing. And I might look a little like my grandmother, just saying.
But really nice.
So we'll be back with Kelly Schumann in the hot seat.
Okay.
Oh no, we had technical difficulties. But we're going to work it out.
Yeah.
Because you know what?
So like you said, this was a real life thing that happened to you.
Yes.
And
the ending was different. The ending that I wrote in the sketch, very different than the actual one that happened.
I'm glad for that. I'm glad.
But it just sort of part of what we do with Fatch is we take the sort of stuff that we deal with as fat women and we make fun of it, partly to educate, but partly to release a little bit for ourselves as well. And so...
Should we load it?
All right, we're ready. Let's do it. Let's
You'll
see
watch
it.
and hear.
Sorry about that, guys.
That's
No
okay.
worries.
Oh, are you okay? Oh, yeah, I'm fine. I'm Miss Emma. What's your name, baby?
Hi, Miss Emma. My name is Celia.
Oh, well, I saw you going into the store, and I couldn't believe how fast you was moving, Celia.
Yeah, I was in a hurry to get my stuff and get back home.
Yeah, it was kind of surprising because, you're a big girl, Celia. Can you please forgive an old woman?
Okay, Miss Emma, I forgive you, and I'll be praying for you. You have a good day ahead.
Boom, boom, boom.
Go fuck yourself, lady. I think that's... Miss, are you okay? What's the matter?
Don't splash me with your giant arms.
Oops.
Miss Emma. Miss Emma is not to be trifled with, y'all. But that legit happened to me, except for the, like, I didn't actually kill her. I wanted to.
Only in your heart.
Only in my heart. And little old lady. She actually pulled up in front of me in her car and wouldn't let me go around. So, gotta love it.
Fun times.
Yeah.
She'll be back.
She will.
She'll definitely be back. Well, thank you for indulging us. We've all gotten like cough drops and like glasses of water. But our guest is still here, even though she's like feeling like she's going through it with her voice. But she's going to say all the things to you guys still because she loves us. Kelly Schumann is here. If you don't know, Kelly's Justine on Superstore.
I am.
The hilarious Justine on Superstore.
And we got to see each other at the For Your Consideration Emmy event.
We did.
And
That's right.
it was quite something because they showed clips from the new season. And there were 3 plus-size women on screen saying things that had nothing to do. It wasn't like a Weight Watchers meeting or like I hate myself. Like it was incredible.
Yeah.
And I got really verklempt. Like I actually got teary in the audience. And my friends are like, what the hell's wrong with you? I'm like, you don't understand. I see it myself. Like it really means so much. Like it's such a big deal. I just wanted to ask you about your experience, like getting onto the show and like being on the show in that capacity, like getting to work with women who are big.
I know.
With you.
I know. It's pretty incredible. And it's pretty fantastic that in my memory, there is no scene that I've ever done on Superstore that had anything to do with my size. So that's pretty incredible and pretty unusual. My experience with getting on the show, it was really weird because I had this audition and it was actually for an episode that's listed in like on IMDb as the 0 episode. It was season 2, episode 0. So it was like a one-off that they did for the Olympics. And
Cool.
yeah. And I had like, 1 line, 2 lines maybe. And I had a great experience that day. And I thought, I just don't think that was enough. Like it did say in the breakdown, possibly recurring, but I didn't actually think, especially after that day. And then, cut to a few weeks later, they were like, they want to pin you for this episode. And I was like, what?
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
Was the next episode Muffin Ball?
no, Muffin Ball was a few episodes later, but interesting thing, it's called Ladies Lunch.
Ladies Lunch,
Yeah. And the interesting thing about Ladies Lunch is that they invited myself and Irene White, who plays Carol, to the table read. And we're like looking at the script and we're like, holy crap, we've got lines. Like
You did. You had significant scenes in that.
yeah, we went from like 1 line and sort of being like glorified background to actually being like part of the crew. So it just sort of happened like pretty quickly.
Yeah.
It was amazing, but it happened pretty quickly.
It's one of my favorite episodes of the show. And
It's
I
one of mine,
rewatched
too.
it today
It's one of
because
mine,
you were
too.
coming.
No.
It's so funny. That episode is great.
It really is. It really, really is. And the new season stuff is really fantastic also. So what is it like working? It's also interesting because it's like all a store. Like the For Your Consideration event was at the Superstore.
Oh, yes,
Which
because
it's all one set.
can I just tell you, I was on my way to a concert at the Hollywood Bowl, and I was in the shuttle, and it was the first time that I ever drove
Past the
down
store.
Barham without being driving. So like I could see that it was the first time I saw the set.
Yeah.
And I yelled, "Oh my God, there's Cloud fine.
Yeah.
And people were like, what is wrong with you? And I was like, right? Okay. Nobody was excited as I was, but
I got a picture of it. I got stuck at that light today. And so I took a picture of it on the way here. I was like, Superstore in the wild. So I had the same reaction when we first walked on the set. I don't know what I expected, but I did not expect to be walking into an actual department store, which is, they have it set up like an actual department store.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool. Mm-hmm. Again, I don't know what I expected. It's
like doing a play in 3D or something. Like it's
totally immersive.
Theater.
It is. It's immersive theater.
Basically,
yeah,
what
and
you're
that's
doing.
We're like immersive actors. We're very serious.
Right.
Yes, you from your improv backgrounds. Mm-hmm. Do you guys do any of that?
Yeah, they do. They typically at the end of the scene, they never yell cut. It just keeps going and going, and sometimes it just keeps going. But yeah, so they wait for us to get it out of our system. So.
I always think the break room scenes feel like they must be so much fun to shoot,
so
like
fun.
to have everyone in the room and you can riff off of each other.
And those are the ones that go on forever.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that those are also the funnest scenes to shoot for that exact reason. Everybody's there. I was just reading an article where Mark McKinney, who plays Glenn, says, like, sometimes that's the only scene that we all have together in a week.
Right.
And so it sort of feels like coming back to school on Monday and everyone's in the break room and here we are again. And it also is set up like a break room. It has fluorescent lighting. It's very attractive. But yeah, I feel like that's kind of where we go craziest. They just let us go and go and go. And I think, I don't want to say a lot of it because we have pretty incredible writers that write in our voices very, very well. But that is where you'll see some of the improv that gets into the show.
What do you feel like is your proudest moment as an improviser getting something on?
Well, I'm going to tell you a secret.
Oh, gosh.
I'm not an improviser.
Oh, I thought when I met you were an improviser.
No. I took one class at the Groundlings. I took the first level, but wait, this is the best part. At the Groundlings, you have to get past to the next level. Mm-hmm. So the teacher sat me down and she was like, I'm going to put you through to the next level because I think you have like you're naturally funny, but you seem miserable. And I was like, I am. There's so many rules in improv. And my poor little like perfectionist brain, it can't handle it. It like explodes. So like I'd get up there and I would be like, you're supposed to like establish like the who, what, where of the scene. And I'd get up and be like, hello, Kathy, and thank you for having me on your podcast, which we are recording right now in Burbank. And she would be like, okay, I guess you did get all the information out. There's nothing funny or entertaining about it, but I said it. So
that's funny. I think because my friend Michael, Michael and Bonnie, Michael, are.
Oh yeah.
They just
sketch. I was doing sketch.
Oh, and he's an improviser, I was thinking
he's an amazing improviser.
I think that's why my brain did that.
We were doing a sketch show together, which I also am not trained in. But I have a bunch of friends that are like excellent sketch performers. Michael Tozan, Jason Moyer, Jen Burton. These are all people that I know, and they're excellent sketch performers. And they sort of like let me tag along and do their show at Celebration Theater for a few years. And that's Todd Milliner's show.
Oh yeah,
and Todd Milliner's Sean Hayes' production partner.
Ooh. Yeah.
So they sort of like let me tag along, which was really nice of them. And I learned a lot from them. That was sort of my first foray into real comedy. When I lived in Chicago, I just was like an actor, and that didn't really have any boundaries on it, whereas Los Angeles is really into character types. They really want everybody to be a type. Mm-hmm. And so, when I got here, they were like, well, you look like this, so you must be funny. And I was like, look like what? I don't understand what we're talking about. So it wasn't until I got to LA like 11 years ago that I started to lean into it. And I learned a lot from those people at Celebration.
That is, so much so that I assumed you were that.
Thank you.
But I also love, we're going to talk more about theater in the next segment. So I'm going to table that for a sec.
Sure.
I want to talk about America for your boss.
That boss.
She just did literally a TED Talk that has just blown up everywhere about casting.
Yeah.
And it is really profound. And I was just wondering, do you feel her leadership in on set.
Yes. I was just going to say, I have to first say that she's an amazing boss, and she really sets the tone in every way. She sets the tone for what the show is going to, what purpose we serve. She sets the tone for how we behave on set. She sets the tone for the way we treat people. She's incredible, and she's an incredible human being. Like, if you don't know anything about America, if you're listening to this and you don't know anything about America, you need to go find out about her, because she's an incredible activist. She's a mom, she's an actress, she's a producer, she's a director, she's a writer. She does it all. Yeah. And so, this TED Talk, I recently saw it. And the funny thing is, we finished shooting Superstore, and we were talking at, I think, the wrap party, like the wrap dinner. And I was like, do you finally get to take a break? Because, she's raising a baby while on set. Yeah. With her husband. But, like, still, it's a lot of work. Yeah. And directing and producing. And I said, do you finally get to take a break? And she goes, no, now I have to start writing my TED Talk. And I was like, sure, yes, of course. Like you do.
You're like, I'm doing laundry later, my darks.
Totally.
It's going to take a long time for them to dry.
It's going to take me a very long time. I'm going to hang them up. She's just everything. So the TED Talk is amazing. It's also just like, I think she's a great voice for anyone who's ever felt marginalized. It's just fascinating to listen to her particular story and to hear what she has to say about these things.
Yeah, and I like that she's really interested in making true change, and change that is really, like, going to hit the people who hold the cards.
Right. Yeah, I can't speak for her, but it does seem to me like she's only interested in doing the work that affects change. And Superstore is a great example of that, of just how, like, anyone, spoiler if anyone hasn't watched the season finale from this past season, or from season 4, but we're dealing with ICE coming to the store, and we have an undocumented employee. I think she's it looks to me from the outside like that's the kind of work she's feeling dedicated to. Yeah. That's impressive. When you have that much power and influence and you decide to use it for good instead of just for yourself.
And even in small things, like there was like one of the episodes, there's like a flash mob proposal, and one of the dancers is a big woman and is a fat woman, and I was like, yeah, it's awesome. And the whole storyline with Mateo being, undocumented. There's so much good stuff, and you never feel like we're banging you on the head about this issue. It's just so seamless and so funny and so real.
Yeah. I was also, and I read all the articles about Superstore because I'm always interested to hear what people have to say about it. And so far, people have wonderful things to say about it, which is so rewarding, and it's just amazing to read. But Amir, who plays Saeed on the show, was talking about that too, that like his identity is incidental to the character that he's playing, or his ethnic identity is incidental to the character that he's playing, and my size is incidental to the character that I'm playing, but nonetheless the representation is really important to them. So it's incredible.
It made me cry. I'm just saying. You do have a podcast of your own.
I do,
and I want to give people literally a tiny little sliver of your nonsense while we get a swig of water and then talk about that. It just
Have you ever tried to laugh without smiling?
Yes. Yes, I have.
Highly recommend it. It's ridiculous.
Yes, as someone who had to go to church often in my life, and particularly at funerals, I have been known to feel the pain of a laugh come up at a funeral. Yes, and it's the worst. And usually it's way horrible. Yeah. Especially when everyone in your line gets it. Everyone in your pew gets in on it.
It's wonderful skill set, the things you learn in church. Like, I can have a full-on conversation in eyes.
Yes.
Just from church. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. And I know I'm the queen of, for those on our podcast, Nikki gave us a taste.
And
Kelly responded.
We had a good
Awesome.
conversation.
Yeah.
I feel connected now.
Yeah, totally.
Thank you.
That wouldn't work as a podcast. What with the no sound? But,
True.
But we could have one hell of a vlog.
Yeah.
We really could.
We
We could
really-
make that do something.
Yes. I also think that like I know so much about pressing on the side of someone's body. Like I am the worst theater goer because I am definitely like I won't do upper body usually because that gives away too much around me, but I will do the knee, and then when it goes all full leg to leg, like it's really bad, and that is from church. That is from church.
That's
I learned.
good. That's good.
My first theater was church for sure. Okay, your podcast is called Clearly Struggling, and you do it with Destiny Bryant, who is a comedian.
She's a stand-up comedian. Mm-hmm.
And you work with her at Make-A-Wish.
I do. So, yeah, we work at Make-A-Wish together, and for, honestly, I would say a good 2 years before we started the podcast, we had this fake podcast. So we would talk about our podcast, and then we had like we were like, yeah, and our also our line of clothing, and then we had like a series of dance clubs. I mean, like we had a whole empire, and we had done nothing. I mean, like, and by the way, that's like really representative of who I am. I have a whole empire, and I've done nothing so far.
You had an improv career.
I had an entire improv career and had never done any improv. So that's kind of my brand. And so we used to eat lunch, and we would just regale our coworkers with our ridiculous stories of like, oh, you think that's good? Listen to this one. And so I was telling the story of the time that my car got stolen out of my parking lot, my gated parking lot in Hollywood, where I lived. And the car was stolen. And
I'm shook. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm shook.
Have you ever had your car stolen?
No.
Oh, well, my first thought was, did I accidentally park it not in my parking spot? Which, by the way, is that just like a woman thing that I was like, this must be my fault. I did this.
That is so real.
Right? Yes. And then I called my dad, and I was like, what do I do? Help me. I don't want to help myself. And he goes, I don't know. I've never had my car stolen. I'm like, thank you for nothing, sir. So, I go to the police. They find the car like 3 weeks later. Some tow company finds it. They give it back to me. And then over the next few weeks, a series of one item at a time would go missing from my car. And they had changed all the locks, but they couldn't change. The hatchback had this piece of like this window that would open, and they couldn't change the lock on the hatch window. So I finally noticed, because I would drive to work, and when I got to the garage, I'd pull my makeup out of the center console and put my makeup on before work. And I opened up the center console, and it was gone. And I was like, okay, I'm not going crazy. I've lost a trench coat. Somebody gave me a little mini vacuum cleaner, and now all my makeup is gone. Something is happening in this car. And I just thought maybe they're getting in through that hatch window. So I backed my car into the parking spot so you could no longer open that window. That person showed up that night and stole my antenna off the back of my car. But I will say, he left me alone after that. I'm assuming it's a man. I don't know.
Persistent.
Wow.
Yes, very persistent. Although he stole all my makeup. So
I've had someone break into my car in my spot. And
break in.
And yes, but no windows or anything. So it's old enough that people say like actually they have scramblers that can open your locks. But I literally live like somebody who's on the run, like a fugitive. So my car looks crazy. So you think there'd be treasures, but it's trash. It's all CDs and like old coats that I use for sketch and scripts of children's theater. Yeah. That's what is in my car. So they ransacked it and didn't find anything. They did take a trench though.
I know, I had
we
a
are
trench
so
coat.
connected.
There is somebody walking around who is styling.
With some fabulous trench coats.
Fabulous.
How
trench
is that
coats.
related to your podcast?
Okay, yes. So I'm telling this story at lunch one day, and my coworker goes, who would do this? I mean, somebody who is clearly struggling, such as yourself. And I was like, what? I am a very important television star. And she goes, not yet. Okay. What? So, yes. She was like, no, girl, you're not.
Wow.
And that was sort of the genesis. We were like, okay, so if we ever do actually start our empire, it's going to be called Clearly Struggling. And then, I don't know, I got this bug up my butt one day, and I was like, we're doing this. I bought the website before we had a podcast. I went all in. So that's how we got the name Clearly Struggling.
That's great.
And it's literally about struggling.
But you're doing actual things. You're not making up the things on the podcast to
Oh,
talk
no,
about. Like
hard
you're
no.
like Destiny actually did a 26 mile.
It was 28 miles.
28
She actually did a 28
hike?
mile hike. Yeah. And I thought that the dispatches from the
stressed out
trail
just
were going to be
listening to
so good. And every time she was like, yeah, I'm doing good. And I was like, what?
You're like, do you remember the name of our show?
Yeah, I'm going to need
you
something.
struggle?
No,
A little?
She was doing great. I mean, does she belong on the show anymore? I don't know.
If you can do 28 miles
Right?
and not struggle,
She's basically an athlete at this
she's
point.
a struggle
The struggle is not real for her.
I don't think
not.
so.
No.
No.
She's fired. Destiny, you're fired. But she made you do stand-up. Like, you got the bug to do stand-up.
I did. She is a very funny stand-up comedian, and I would go watch her, and I would be like, that just seems so hard. Stand-up to me is like the last frontier. It's like the most difficult thing. And I mean, I just watched her enough, and I had another friend that took a stand-up class with a teacher named Judith Shelton. And I went and took her class just recently and started doing stand-up myself. So
it.
I was inspired.
I took a class too, girl. I took
did?
a class because
I did
I kept
too.
seeing people book jobs who were stand-ups and not me, an actor who studied Meisner for 10 years.
Yes.
And was on Broadway and
the
no one
Broadway.
cared. And I was like, all right, bitches, I'll do stand-up too. I'll do that too. I was all cocky, and then I did it, and I was like, I never want to be in a stand-up club ever again.
yeah.
it does seem to be that they do. I do stand up, and I love it. It is very hard, but I love it, and I hate improv. And so, like, there's like a war between stand ups and improvs, and like,
They should really write the West Side Story of that, and maybe that's our next sketch. Where we're gonna
yes.
do the war. It's like sketch, improv, and stand-up comics, and it'll be
So
like
good.
a crazy West Side. That we're writing that done.
when you're a sketch all the way from. Sorry,
Improv
amazing.
night. Improv night.
stand up.
We're so doing it. Oh my God, this is the best episode ever, and I'm sorry for those of you who are catching up too late. Live, you should be doing this live right now.
Although I was gonna say it does seem in LA that when, as a fat woman, as a fat actress, when I go on auditions, so often the other actresses are also stand-ups. Like that is it's so often that I get to an audition and I'm like, hey girl, I saw you at Flappers the other day, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so it seems like, and I don't know if that's like a thing about fat actresses, or if then people are having the same experience, but I just noticed that I frequently get to things when the casting breakdown makes the description about, like, says something about size, it's almost always a room full of comics.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I definitely felt like I had to compete. And now I don't care at all. Like, it's so fun. It feels like so far away when I had all those weird feelings. And now I'm like, do you, babe? I'm all right. It's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we want to support you. You have to tell us when you do it.
Yeah.
Do you have your final night? Do you have like a class night?
I did it.
Oh, you did already?
I did it. Yeah. And that's the stand-up tape that I have. How did it went good. It's hard. It's really really hard. But I will say that we did a run through before the final show, and I got some notes that were like, just connect with the audience more. You're just having a conversation, and I was like, you know what? The show's in an hour. So I'm probably not gonna connect. And I just sort of had resigned myself to sucking at it. But something happened. I got up there, and like everything I know as an actor, every instinct I had sort of kicked
back,
in.
yeah.
And I mean, I can't watch the tape. I don't ever watch myself. I'm way, way, way too critical. But in the moment, that's more what matters. Like, how did you feel in the moment?
Yeah. Because when the first time I ever did it, I got on stage and I went, oh, this is just stage. I can do stage.
Yeah.
I do stage all the time.
Yeah.
And that made it a little more palatable in terms of the difficulty.
Yeah,
I
for
just
sure.
remembered I'm just on stage.
I'm so with you guys on that. And that's a perfect segue into the theater talk I want us to have. We just have like one quick hot topic to discuss with you. I hope you're on board with it.
Yeah.
I just spoke with Stephanie Lexus, who has started this Instagram account, and she's fired up, y'all. She's in New York and she's fired up. And I'm very excited for her. And she has already done like a hell of a lot of work on this first project, but she has so many projects lined up. I hope we all go support her. It's the Broadway Positivity Project, Broadway BOPO.
The Broadway Body Positivity.
Oh, did I not say that?
you
I'm
didn't say the
sorry.
word body.
Oh my God, I can't say things.
You got it,
Rehearsal's
girl.
going to be really
Take your
tough tonight.
time.
The Broadway Body Positivity Project. I like all the
Yes,
"us"
girl.
in there. But it's Broadway BOPO. on Instagram. And she went and collected a bunch of theater stories. What I love about it when I talk to her, she's like, it's not really just for Broadway. That's like the thing that people go to when they think of theater. So that's why she used it. But it really is about like your theater experience. And she's collected a lot of stories. There were a couple of dresser stories like that she broke down for me. And I was like, girl, there's one thing to sort of think about those moments that happen to you that maybe you're like, maybe I'm reading this wrong. Try to give people the benefit of the doubt. And then someone's like, oh, no, this happened with a dress. And you're like, ooh, that thing that happened to me was not me making it up, was it? Yeah. So I was just wondering with your theater experience, especially comparing it to TV, and we were talking a bunch about, we all have brought our own clothes to set, guys. Like, that's like a thing you do. We've all had people resist the fact that we are plus-size women when dressing us in TV and movies. But I was wondering if it compared to theater, what your experiences were.
My experiences in theater. So I do think Chicago is a little more loosey-goosey, just because Chicago, I will just say my own experience in Chicago was that they were looking for the best performances by and large. And so it didn't really, they were less concerned with what I actually looked like. But I definitely had the experience. I was auditioning for a show, and the role was meant to be like a quirky sidekick. So like, yeah, that's kind of my wheelhouse, and maybe that's wrapped up in what I look like and maybe not, I don't know. And the director was like, after truly hours, exhaustive callbacks, he said, you are by and like far and away the best person for this role, but I need you to lose like 40 pounds. And the show wasn't for like another 5 months. And I said, okay, because I was like, well, if I don't do this, I don't get the role. And I said yes to it. And then, coming up like a month away from the show, I hadn't lost any weight at all. And I'm like a professional dieter, or I had been up till this point. This is not something I do anymore. But I was like, what is wrong with me? Why can't I make this happen? And I do think that was like sort of my body saving me from myself, because it was the wrong choice. It was never the right choice to change who I was. He flat out stated that I was by far the best person for this role, and that should have just really been the beginning and end of the story. And it wasn't, and so I had to back out of it. And the actress that it ended up going to was wonderful, and she won all kinds of awards and accolades for it, and I'm really happy for her, and she's a close friend of mine. But that is probably the most upsetting experience I've ever had in theater. And then, in television, sometimes I feel like I'm a unicorn. Like they don't, oh, look, it's a fat person in the wild. Like, you know what I mean? Like I just sometimes feel like they fat people. We all know fat people. Let's stop pretending we don't exist.
Yeah. Yes. That's a great way to put it. It's funny. Nikki was just reminding me of a story I had told her, because I have so many. When I was being costumed for Wicked, we had 3 different designers, and one of them, Tony Award winning, they're all brilliant people, and he was really a craftsman, but they created a spank / boned garment to wear underneath a school uniform, like a wool school like I wore one to Catholic school my whole life. Like, do I really need?
And presumably you're singing and dancing while wearing that thing.
Yeah, and I did. We used to call it the medieval torture device. And then I would have to wear a corset on top of it, because all of my other costumes had built-in corsets. So I was double corseted. And then finally, I just had this like aha moment, like, I don't need to do this. And I said, because they had to fix it, because the whalebones were like going up into, they weren't really whalebones, but that's what they would call them. And it was going up into my tatas. And I was like, why don't we just not have it? And I can wear a regular spank if I want, or maybe not. Does it look that different? And they all were like, no, it looks great. And but I thought for at least 6 months that was my cross to bear. Like I had to have everything sucked in another 5 inches. I don't know how, I don't even know if it even did that much. Like, Yeah.
I won't wear them. I won't wear those like compression situations.
Oh, compression stuff.
Like
Where
not
you're- where
compression,
you're-
but you know the stuff
like girdles.
What is it?
And
Shapewears
Spanx
and stuff.
shapewear and all that stuff. Yeah.
No, I won't wear
I
it.
like a good shapewear. I will say I like, especially when it makes my thighs not rub together and stops that from happening.
Can I just? I'm not a spokesperson, but go get Mega Babe.
Oh, the
Chub
chub
rub.
rub stuff.
Yeah, it's the best. I'm wearing it
Yeah,
right now.
People like it.
Super comfy.
I've tried it.
Not into it?
No.
Oh my god.
What I did was I built up a callus between my thighs.
That's the answer.
That's just
I hate
because you know I can't be having extra layers and stuff on underneath my dress. I can't do that. So I just one summer I was just going.
You were like, I'm gonna do this.
And
it's like playing the guitar with your fingers, except
yes,
for
it got raw and ugly and angry.
But then,
But you know what? I can wear a dress without.
so our season finale just aired last week, so we'll be back in the fall. You can find me on Instagram at @thatkellymarie, and you can find me at Clearly Struggling. I think it's clearlystruggling.com, but the podcast is called Clearly Struggling with Destiny and Kelly.
and people might see you at Make-A-Wish things.
Oh yeah, I work for Make-A-Wish also.
Yeah, because why not have a whole other job? We didn't even really touch on that.
That's okay.
But
yeah,
maybe in the after we'll do a little something about that. But
yeah.
we want to thank you so much for
Thank
being
you guys
here.
for having me.
Just like I've been waiting forever, and I'm so glad it finally happened. We have to run. We have a great guest next week.
L Chase.
I was like throwing it to you.
Sorry. We do have an amazing guest next week. L Chase is the author of
She's an author.
of a really awesome book called Curvy Sex, I think. I'm sorry, Elle.
She's
I
a
have forgotten.
she's a fat positive sex educator.
And she wrote this glorious book with diagrams and pictures and descriptions about how to have
Curvy girl sex.
Curvy girl sex
101
in
body
all the
positive
all of the
positions.
different positions. It's a great book.
Oh my
and she's
God.
coming next week to talk to us.
we have to look sexy next week. Pull it together. We're gonna make it happen.
We're going to see.
I'm gonna be ready to go after this.
You should have saved this outfit for next week.
I know this is a lot, but breathing is not necessary today. Apparently, like, subscribe, and share, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Patreon, if you really are into us, and we'll see you next week, the same time at +6.
Bye.